and welcome to another of our series of videos that delve into the progressive income tax amendment that is on the ballot this November. It would replace the current fair flat tax that's enshrined in our Constitution and replace it with a graduated progressive tax that we think is very unfair, that is going to drive wealth out of our state, entrepreneurs out of our state, and eventually go ahead and increase the tax burden on potentially every Illinoisan in the state. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few of the things we want to go ahead and talk about today. So first of all, we need to go ahead and realize the financial state of Illinois right now. The notion that the progressive tax is going to raise $3.6 billion, which is the governor and the proponent's plan. But look at the magnitude of our problems. $7.5 billion progressive liberal groups want to spend an extra $7.5 billion on everything from education to Medicaid to new brass doors of the State House. $7.5 billion. The backlog of unpaid bills still remains at $6.8 billion. That's down from $13 billion, but it's still $6.8 billion. Pension costs for this state are going to increase by $1 billion this fiscal year alone. This is $15.3 billion, and we're being offered a plan that raises $3.6 billion. So if you think you're going to go ahead and skip out on the part of the tab to address this monstrosity, you are mistaken. $3.6 billion doesn't even really make much of a dent in our real fiscal problems here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we do have in terms of the plan that's being proposed by the governor and the proponents. They want to go ahead and put a very high tax on this thin sliver of taxpayers. That represents 60,000 taxpayers out of millions of total returns. So the people that are supposed to pick up this tab are 60,000 people in this small sliver of all taxpayers. So again, if you think these folks are going to keep their money here and they're going to stay in Illinois and go ahead and try and pick up this tab, again, we think you're mistaken. Very important. And then finally, let's go ahead and take a look at Connecticut experience. Illinois is a blue state, just like Connecticut is. When they first enacted the millionaire's tax, they had an effective flat tax of 5%. Almost everybody paid 5%. They went down the road of a millionaire's tax, tax the wealthy, whatever you want to call it. And 7 years later, there were 7 tax brackets, and people making as little as $50,000 had a huge tax increase. So this is a cautionary tale that Connecticut, we think, is going to be like Illinois if we go ahead and pass this amendment and allow this legislature to go ahead and create more brackets and make people that make less and less money pay more in taxes. So let's just go ahead and finish with this chart as well. This is a representation of how much money different income brackets pay. So the very top percent, which was what the proponents really want to talk about, the top 1% of all income earners in Illinois pay 25% of all state income taxes. The next 19% pay 42% of all income taxes. That means the bottom 80% pay only a third of all state income taxes. We think this looks like a fair tax. If anything, we're concerned about these folks, the 19%, going to other states where their tax burden could be much, much less, which again leads into the exodus of people from Illinois. We lead the nation in individuals leaving our state, which means fewer and fewer people are left to go ahead and pay this burden. So this is the fair tax, this is the flat tax, and this is what we need to go ahead and maintain. We look forward to talking to you next time.